I am back.
Yep, and if you are new to this, every week, Theo,
I review a new place. You know, last week was a hair salon. I think it went pretty well. You know, I gave them a good rap.
we review places in Philippines and Singapore. Where are we today?
Yeah, in Singapore. I still haven't finished there yet.
Okay.
So, see, I've got a lot to go. You know, I haven't even started on the Philippines. This is from my trip back in 2-3 months ago. You know,
Yep.
I haven't even started on La Pinas. So,
Lapinas.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, all right, guys, let's go. Cara, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. So this place it's in Singapore. Because it's Singapore. It's not fancy. It doesn't have a specific name because I forgot. Actually, I only took a picture of the food, but you can find foods like this in any of their food courts. All right. And I found the best food you can get there is in their food courts. You know what I mean? Like anywhere in Singapore. It's like you can go outside or you can go inside to a mall or something like that. So food courts have a range of every different type of food. You know,
That's right.
obviously it's in Asia, so you got the fish, you got the pork, you got the noodles, you got stuff like that.
Got sushi in there.
And I didn't see some, but I'm sure it's there. And you got stir fry, you got the fried rice, and then you got the dessert. Oh, I didn't even do the dessert yet, so that's another segment. But
What you gonna do with that dessert?
so I'm not gonna do much with it. Anyway, the best thing, what I like about this, the food from these food courts ranges from the lowest price was $3 up until about $6.
Singaporean?
Yeah,
Nice.
or $6.50. So before I move on, I just want to ask you a question, Clark. Like,
Yes, sir.
when you go out,
Yep.
because I was actually talking to a few of my workers like the other day, and we're talking about this same subject. You know, we don't like when we go out to a restaurant or something, and you go there, and you pay a lot for your food, or you pay like a good amount, maybe what $50, or let's say 2,000 if we put it in pesos, maybe like 3,000 pesos to like 5,000 pesos, something like that, diba? And then when you pay that much, and then you get the food, and it doesn't taste good, right? So you're like, you pay good money, you think it's good money, and it's not that nice.
Yeah.
But you can go to a shop or market down the street and get something that costs 200 pesos, and it tastes great.
Yep.
You know, it tastes like the best thing you've ever had.
100%.
And so that's one thing we're talking about. So a lot with food, and that's one thing that I have with this food court. So obviously a lot of people go. It's every time I go there, from not so much in the morning, because always in the morning around maybe 10 a.m. But midday towards afternoon to night, there's a lot of food going on. Because that's when people halfway during the work have their lunch.
Yeah.
And so what I had was cut up pork with freshly made egg noodles with honey soy.
Nice.
And with a bit of bok choy on the side, like just a bit of leaves. And that was like $3.50. I can't remember what food called, but there's many, but that was the nicest I've had. You know what I mean? Like just something like that. It's simple. And I've got another picture of I've got a picture of Nikki's food as well, and they cost about the same.
Nice.
And stuff like that, it's amazing. You could have like 3 of them and be absolutely full, cheaper than what you pay. Like remember I mentioned Morganfield's the ribs.
Yeah.
I could be as full eating them 3 plates for $9 than I pay them paying $60 for rib. You know what I mean? And but the food was, you see, it's simple. It's really simple on the plate. You see noodles, you see pork on top of the noodles. On the side, you see a bit of bok choy, and that's it. But the flavor that comes with it it's fantastic. And how they make it in front of you, they do it right in front of you, and it takes like 2 minutes because it's fast food. Food court 2 minutes, but the food is amazing, and it's crazy. Like I ate in like 3 or 4 food courts, and it was good. Like I said, the prices range from $3 to $6 was the most expensive, but it was great. You know what I mean? You don't really mind the price. I think $6 or $5 to $6 was the one at Vivo City, the food court up top. Forgot what it's called, but they I don't know if I'll review that because they all have the same sort of food. You know what I mean? Just different prices depending on where you go. But the food I had was 4 out of 5. It was great. You know what I mean? Like I pretty much ate the same dish every time we went to a food court because it was that nice, and everywhere you went was the same. It was nice. You know what I mean? I didn't even get to try. I didn't get to try 90% of the other foods they had.
Oh, it's massive. It's gonna be a
I
massive
wish
food
I
court.
wish I had, and that's next time I'm gonna go back and try all the other ones. But location, I'll give it a 4. 4. I say 4 because they have a lot of food courts everywhere. So there are food courts everywhere in Singapore. Most countries have food courts. You know what I mean? Like anywhere you go, I'm sure there's a location you type in food court or you walk in food court. What was the next one? Atmosphere, right?
Yeah, atmosphere.
That one I would give
Generally, because there's a lot of food courts.
generally I'll give depending on where you go, I'll give it 3. I'll put 3. 3. Only because it's very packed in there. It is. It's a food court. It's packed. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people. You know when you have to get your food and you're walking around with the trays and you're like, oh excuse me,
Yeah.
and you have to watch and like, oh, watch it. Yeah, that's very annoying. And then one has to go. You're like, oh yeah, you find the table, I'll get the food. You know? Or then you get the food, and when you sit down, the other one gets food. Yeah, so you have to.
We always do that. Though.
Yeah.
And you got your service.
Was it service or location?
You done location.
Did I?
Yeah. It's time for service.
Was it?
Yep. He gave it a 4. He gave food.
Oh yeah. Okay.
4,
Service.
atmosphere 3, location 4.
Service was pretty good. Like they're fast food, so you can go to anywhere and they pick it up, and then once you're done, you can they pick up your plates as well. So that's pretty good. So I'll give it a 4. 4.
Okay, so 4, 3, 15.
I don't know. I love food courts. Food courts are good because it's just they just have the food that. You know, they have everything. I was like, oh, I feel like meat. Oh, they've got meat. You feel like rice. They have rice. You feel like noodles. They have noodles. You feel like fish, and they have it. Like it's amazing. There's so many choices.
What about Jollibee?
I didn't see it, but I'm sure it's there. Yeah, they have all the Asian food. You know what I mean? And it's like they're not as big as McDonald's. They're not what to call it. They're not fast food chains. They're just small shops. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's just great. So you know what I mean? I'd rather pay $3 for that meal any day than pay for the same meal you get in the restaurant maybe $10. No, that's not good. No, because like when you know where to go, obviously the locals know where to go. When you know where to go, you'll be like their food is cheap. You know, once you start thinking internationally, like you want like ribs or something, crazy. Some pasta, might get a bit expensive, but it's like in the Philippines. When you eat locally, very, very cheap. When you buy, instead of, the locals, they wake up in the morning, they go to the markets, they get their fish, they get their whatever, they get their rice, get their meat. I'm not gonna say the meat is good or bad, but they get their meat, and then they cook, very cheaply, and then it's actually cheaper. When you go to the market, you go to the store and you're like, you want gulai, right? And then they sometimes they ask like, what are you cooking? And they're like, oh, sinigang, and then they give you everything for it. They're like, this is like, oh,
yep.
cool. They're like, yeah, you want this, and then there's like, oh yeah, done. And they even give you the sinigang mix. Oh yeah, so they chuck that in. But yeah, that's my review. 15 out of
20.
Give it a go, guys.
20.
If you
Food courts around Singapore.
My favorite was you can get chicken as well, or you can get pork bits, and it's on fresh egg noodles with I think honey soy. I think it's honey soy. I can't remember, but it's like you'll see honey soy, and then on side is a bit of bak choy, and it's the best. GG 1010. We'll buy again.
I mean 2020.
All right.
1520. Yo, before we go, I just okay, this is gonna be random. You know how we were talking about McDonald's and all that?
Yeah.
You know how we have how they call it McDonald's. In Philippines they call it Macdo. In America, Mickey D's. What do they call it? Do you reckon they call it anything in Singapore?
Yeah, they call it McDonald's.
That's Vietnam. McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
Because you got Macdo. Yeah. I don't know.
They
just
call
wondering.
it McDon.
Macdo.
The Trip Podcast.
TRIAH.
The Travel Reviews in the Philippines podcast. Listen at thetri.ph. thetri.ph.